Hello everyone, good evening, or it's a little late to say good evening, but welcome to HalfPsyched. I'm Hafsa Malik and we're going to discuss. This is going to be the shortest discussion on Brentano, hopefully. We're going to talk about his phenomenology, and this is quite important for your NET exam. Therefore, I know I've done a class previously, but I'm putting it out for all of my non-plus learners, my free learners. I want as many students to benefit from this as possible. Alright, yes, we're going to talk about Brentano in as short as possible. You can also find me on Unacademy. If you go to the top right corner and click on the Unacademy logo, then you will go to my page where you will see I've done a lot of special classes, free classes on this topic and other topics as well. And you can definitely benefit from them right before your exam. Alright, and if you would like to subscribe to my course or to other courses on Unacademy, you can use my code HAF10 to get a 10% off. Alright, I'll tell you, like I do always, a little bit about this wonderful platform called Unacademy, where you not just have my videos, but you have multiple other learners like you, and then you have multiple other educators like me who do their best to help you get through different exams. And especially for NTA UGC-NET, you have all various subjects. You not only get paper 2, you also get paper 1, and you get really dedicated help for 3 months, for 6 months. It depends on right before the course. Alright, so like I'm doing an MCQ course which is definitely helping you target the exam. It's up to you if you would like to. Don't forget to use my code. Alright, and here if you want to know the various months or durations of subscriptions, you can choose any of these. Alright, the lower you go, the lower cost per month goes, and then yes, like you already know, you can use my code to get a 10% off and use your credits to get another 10% off. We are talking about this very sad looking person today, Franz Brentano, right? He existed long before we did, probably more than 100 years ago. So let's try to see what was he actually all about. Where is this going? All right, I am sorry for this. One moment, please. All right, yes, we are on the right track. Okay, the other page is basically a repetition of this page. So he basically spoke about intentionality of mental phenomena actually, now that I'm talking about plural. Okay, what are phenomena or mental phenomena? Basically anything for us to, any sensory perception, all right, any inner perception, any cognitive activity, any cognitive process is mental phenomena here. So he was influenced by Aristotle as well as other empiricists as well. In the early 19th century, that is when he did most of his work. But he himself believed, even though he thought that natural sciences and then these sciences should be studied the same way, right? But he leaned more towards just the inner perception and the outer perception of, or lived experience, basically, what we refer to as phenomenology. He led the foundations of Husserl's phenomenology. Alright, so these are some of the initial ideas. Alright, and we're going to talk about them. So what did he talk about? Yes, yeah. He said that basically philosophy or sciences like psychology should also be studied just like the natural sciences. And he suggested that phenomenology or studying lived experiences is the best thing for us to do rather than experimentation. Experimentation is not a great way to study these methods. Also, he did support experimentation otherwise, but he himself did not do it. Now let's look at what he divided sciences into. He divided them into biological or genetic sciences, which he said are good for experimentation, okay, but not the descriptive psychology or descriptive sciences. And these, he said, were sort of empirical, and these should be studied through lived experience. Alright, yes, it studies, this one studies psychological phenomena from a third person point of view. This basically refers to experimentation, right? So here experimentation would be referring to the genetic psychology, and according to him, descriptive psychology would basically be about studying human beings, studying their lived experiences. All right. Now, what do we actually study about people? We study how people perceive mental and physical objects or mental and physical phenomena. All right. So, he wanted to create a scientific psychology which was measured like natural sciences, but not exactly a natural science. All right. So, he wanted to call this the science of mental phenomena. And then don't forget his concept of intentionality. So he basically studied a lot on mental phenomena, and as a result of this, we also find out a lot of his opinions on the physical objects or physical phenomena. All right, we are going to differentiate between the two right here: physical objects or phenomena. All right. So there are 6 criteria to discuss or to distinguish mental from physical phenomena. We are going to talk about the first 3 which are most important to us. Okay. First of all is that mental phenomena can only be perceived inward. Okay. So they are just an exclusive object of inner perception, and therefore physical phenomena can only be externally perceived. External perception only. All right, they appear as a unity. That means only one can be dealt with at a time. Only one. Always remember this. Okay, this is sort of the core of Brentano's phenomenology. And then the intentionality, they are directed towards an object. Let us say if I'm looking at an object, Brentano says that I am very intentionally, I am deciding to look at the object. It is not happening unconsciously. Unconsciousness does not have a place in Brentano's phenomenology. So I'm deciding to do something by will, and we'll see how this will is experienced as well. I hope everybody is on the same page as me so far. All right, now why is this happening? Wait one moment. Okay. Sorry for this. All right. So all mental phenomena have something in common, and all physical phenomena have something in common. That means that mental phenomena are only perceived in the inner consciousness, right? Only inward. These are our mental processes, and therefore, even if we look at an object, we only sort of the perception happens inside us, and the stimulus is received inside us. So all mental phenomena are perceived inward, okay, inner consciousness. Whereas for physical phenomena, let's say I'm looking at a tree, or I'm manipulating a box, I'm picking up a ball, I'm throwing it, so only external perception is possible here. Do remember this, right? And then every mental act or every mental phenomena is directed towards itself as a secondary object as well. Now this one is basically talking about awareness, right? And for Brentano, this is the highest level of consciousness, right? He does not believe in introspection or metacognition. All right, I'm going to write it in big words here: no metacognition and no introspection. Therefore, you can't think about your thinking, right? He doesn't believe in reductionism either. What did I say? No metacognition and then no introspection. All right. Yes. So my visual experience itself would be a mental phenomena, and then my awareness of my visual experience. I'm looking at the tree, but I am also aware that I am not hearing something. Rather, I am looking. I am using my visual senses rather than using my tactile senses or my audition, right? So I am also aware of what I am doing, and that itself becomes a secondary object. All right? But the inner consciousness remains one whole. So the consciousness of this object remains a unity. So every mental phenomenon is directed towards itself and is directed towards itself as a secondary object, right? It is the basis of how we become aware of our own mental phenomena. Remember that according to him, awareness is the highest level of consciousness possible. All right. So now you might say that, Ari, but what about unconsciousness, right? So consequently, we have a mental, if we have a stimulus of a very low intensity, let's say I'm trying to look at a tree in utter darkness, अंधेरे में मैं ट्री देखने की कोशिश कर रही हूँ. So what happens here? Low intensity का stimulus है ये. So my perception या मेरा mental phenomena जो होगा वो भी बहुत low intensity का होगा. My mental phenomena here is also going to be of a very very low intensity. So what am I going to perceive here? I'm going to think the next time I remember it or the next time I imagine it, I'm going to think कि this was unconscious, whereas it was just a conscious mental phenomenon of a very low intensity. ब्रेनाटो की फिलॉसफी में अनकॉन्शियस जैसे कोई चीज़ नहीं है. यहाँ क्या होता है, लो इंटेंसिटी का स्टिमुलस है एनवायरनमेंट में. अब सोचो अंधेरे में आप ट्री देख रहे हैं तो आपको साफ दिखाई भी नहीं देगा. सो द मेंटल फिनोमेनन इज ऑल्सो गोइंग टू हैव अ वेरी लो इंटेंसिटी. ऑल राइट. So what will happen here is that it will be perceived as unconscious. We will mistake it. आप सोचेंगे कि ये unconscious experience है लेकिन ये लो इंटेंसिटी का कॉन्शियस एक्सपीरियंस है. ऑल राइट. Yes, consciousness is always just one. Even though he talks about secondary consciousness and all of that, it is just a unity. There is only one consciousness. We can perceive a number of physical phenomena at one time. हाँ, ये भी बहुत important है. This is very important. So physical phenomena, multiple we can manipulate and perceive at the same time. But mental phenomenon, only one at a time. Now what does he say? What about when we listen, when we're watching TV, when we're eating, when we're doing everything at the same time? What about then? तो यहाँ पे ब्रेनाटो बोलते हैं कि जब हम मल्टीपल एक्टिविटीज़ एक ही टाइम पे कर रहे हैं तो तब क्या? तब ये बस एक कलेक्टिव है, एक बड़ा सा मेंटल फिनोमेनन है जिसके बस ये सब पार्ट्स हैं. ओके. तो यहाँ पे क्या होता है, इसका डिविजन होता है. ऑलराइट. तो अब सोचो ये जो एक बड़ा मेंटल फिनोमेनन है इसी के पार्ट्स हैं ईटिंग, टेस्टिंग, स्मेलिंग. ओके. So what he says is basically you have one whole experience and then this is just one mental phenomenon which is being broken down, or it has many divisives or it has many divisions which are basically forming the mental phenomenon. So it's not that you are going to experience multiple mental phenomenon at the same time. It is just that all of these experiences form one big mental phenomenon. Okay. And they're just small divisives. They basically, what should I say, they integrate into one whole experience or one whole mental phenomenon. Alright, now there are three basic kinds of mental phenomena, alright, which we need to be very, very careful about. We actually need to remember these quite well. Okay, there are three different types of mental phenomena and we are quickly going to classify them. So first one would be presentation. Presentation सबसे basic है जहाँ पे जो भी हम देख रहे हैं, जो भी हम महसूस कर रहे हैं वो हम present करते हैं अपने लिए, जैसे हम mental imagery create करते हैं. Judgment, in English, right? Presentation is basically the basic unit of a mental phenomenon where we present or we imagine or we see or we try to remember something about an object, right? It is directed towards an object, a physical phenomenon, right? And then there are judgments, and judgments cannot occur without presentations, and therefore emotions cannot occur without judgments or presentations. Now let's see how this makes sense. So presentations refers to the mental imagery that is created after visualizing something, after looking at something, right? Let's say I imagine a tree. Right, now to judge it I need to imagine what kind of a tree is it, or if I'm looking at a tree, let's say is it an apple tree or a mango tree. Now that would be my judgment here, where I'm sort of doing a qualitative, wait, not that here, right? All right. So judgments. So judgment is about a qualitative mode of acceptance or denial. Now if I'm looking at a tree, this is my presentation, right? Only after I'm looking at the tree can I judge whether it is a mango or an apple tree. This is my judgment, right? Qualitative, acceptance or denial. I am either accepting or I am denying. I hope you're with me so far. Just a little more to go. Okay, so we have presentations and we have judgments, and the last ones, which are also part or types of the mental phenomena, are phenomena of love and hate or our emotions, right? They comprise of our emotions about the object. Now let us say, now will I say that, oh, I don't like mangoes, or I really like mangoes, right? And this can happen only when I have already established that it's a tree, and then I've made the judgment of whether it is a mango or an apple tree, and then I can finally say I have a desire to eat a mango, or I really like mangoes. My feelings about it, my desires about it, and my acts of will. Am I actually going to go and pick out a mango? My final decision or my action depends on the previous two components, which would be presentations and judgments. And that is the essence of Brentano's phenomenology. Alright, so we can have positive or negative feelings towards an object only once we have established the prior features. That was it for today. I hope you find this helpful, since a lot of you had requested for this. Lastly, I'll also say that this is not a higher order consciousness theory, even though it is sometimes advocated as a precursor to other higher order consciousness or metacognition theories. This is a basic one level of consciousness. It's just that it's really old and therefore it sounds confusing. I hope this becomes simple for you. See you soon. Take care. Bye bye. Thank you for watching.